Oh man, the timing is perfect. It's perfect. I'm untouchable. This is amazing. Yo, this is gonna be such a fun time. I cannot wait to show you guys this. Let's get into it. I got a really great build for you here today that is gonna specialize in survivability in Elden Ring. This build is best worked for New Game Plus 2 and beyond, but you can substitute a few things out if you want to do this on your first playthrough of the game. So we are gonna look at weapons. We're gonna look at the talismans. I have a flask here that I want to take you guys through, and also look at the armor that we're using as well, just so we can go ahead and get that out of the way. This armor is going to be purely aesthetic. There is a lot going on here that is pretty much an RP of a paladin, a lot of light, a lot of survivability spells. It's going to be a lot of fun to play, and if you play this right, you can play behind your summons, heal your summons, and not die ever going through Elden Ring. So let's get right into the armor. The first thing we're going to look at is the Great Helm. This is a Templar looking armor set, and I really like how it came out. I think it has a great RP of a paladin, and the Great Helm really signifies that look altogether. Moving on to the chest piece. This chest piece, the Glimmer Knight armor, is going to give us that aesthetic that we want. It really brings the look together. I tried a bunch of other different looks for this paladin set, but this is the one that I landed on, and I'm really pleased with it. Going on, we have the Sacred Gauntlets, which is our hand pieces, and then we also have our Scaled Greaves. Everything here kind of goes really well together, I found, and if you guys have different armor sets that you would have used for this set, leave it down in the comments, because I'd love to know. I'd love to try things out, and I love talking back and forth with you guys. So moving on to our weapons. This is going to be good, because we have a few very interesting weapons that I would like to go over with you guys, and weapons that I really haven't used a ton within this game. So the first is going to be the Golden Epitaph. It's a shorter sword, so you're going to use it with a shield in this game. It has a physical damage of 195 plus 115 and holy damage of 195 plus 121. It has a very interesting Ash of War on it though, which is the main reason that I want to talk about it. It's going to be called Last Rites, and what it's going to do is it's going to buff your armaments by 10% for all damage types, which is massive, and all armaments are going to gain a flat 25 damage for holy damage, as well as just a little bit of a caveat for the RP. It's going to deal 100% damage to undead, and it's going to keep undead skeletons from reviving. So that's kind of cool, and that goes with the whole Paladin RP. So that's the real reason I chose this weapon. I've really enjoyed using this weapon. It hits decent, and with a shield, the guard counters also hit really decently as well. So if you don't want to use a shield or a sword for this build, you can use the Inseparable Sword. This is a fantastic weapon. I've really enjoyed using it. It has the Ash of War Sacred Blade, which is going to shoot a horizontal blade of holy damage out towards your enemies. The only part of this that I'm not a huge fan of is the fact that it doesn't hit multiple enemies with the Ash of War. Rather, it just hits one at a time. So that's a little bit of a downside, but other than that, it has a physical damage of 225 plus 120 and holy damage of 225 plus 221. And if you tweak this around a little bit, you can get that holy damage to really skyrocket. And like I said, I've really enjoyed using this weapon. It is a strength scaling of D, a dex scaling of D, and a faith scaling of B, so definitely higher on the faith end of things, which is what we want being a paladin and using a lot of faith and strength for this build. Now, the next up is going to be our shield. We're using the Redmane Great Shield. Now, I really like the look of this shield. It does drop from the Redmane Knights that are scattered around Elden Ring. It has a bit of a rare drop chance. I actually just got it recently through my 7th playthrough of the game, so we are going to be using the Ash of War Holy Ground for this shield. This is going to last 35 seconds. It's going to consume 30 FP, and it's going to heal you for around 17 HP per second, which over the course of the entire time it's active, it's going to heal you for a total of 600 HP, which is not bad, especially just being an Ash of War and a passive heal over time. This will also stack with some of our other incantations that we are using, so that is the main reason that I chose this. The shield has a 100% physical damage negation. Its guard boost is 70, which I feel like is pretty good, and it has a strength scaling of B. So this is going to scale with our strength, which is really good for us. Now, moving on to our seal, we're using the Erd Tree Seal at +9. This is going to give us a S scaling in faith. Definitely a really good seal to use, especially with a lot of our incantations. We are using 2 damage incantations and 3 buff/healing incantations, so this is going to scale really well with those and make those more powerful. Now, moving on to our talismans, we are using the Sacred Scorpion Charm. This is going to raise holy attack, but it's going to lower your damage negation. The reason I chose this one is because I wanted to get that extra holy damage off, especially where some of this build can be lacking in damage because it specializes in survivability, but this will allow us to get that extra damage that we need. This talisman is going to increase our holy damage by 8%, which is a nice little boost, and we'll take any other damage that we can possibly get with this build. Moving to talisman number 2, we're going to be using the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman. This talisman is going to enormously boost your physical damage negation. This is going to decrease the damage we take by 20%, which is really, really good, especially in New Game Plus. And going back to the survivability of the Paladin and hiding behind the shield and the summons, this is going to be great for us because we're not going to take a lot of damage and we're going to be able to heal the damage that we do take. So overall, really, really great choice for this build. Moving on to our third talisman, we are using the Flask Canvas Talisman. The Flask Canvas Talisman is solely to boost the damage and the potency of our incantations. As I said before, this is a faith strength build. We are going to be using a decent amount of incantations for this build, so we need anything to make those better in New Game Plus. The Flask Canvas Talisman is going to increase the potency of those incantations by 8%, so another decent buff there for us coming from a talisman. Really enjoy this one, and typically when I do put together some sort of faith build, this talisman is a part of it. Now, our last talisman, we are going to be using the Curved Sword Talisman for one reason and one reason only. The guard counters in this game are absolutely amazing. I love using guard counters. I think they do a ton of damage, and with the Paladin using the shield, for those of you guys who want to use the shield with this build, this is really going to be a perfect setup for you because you can block with the shield, then get off a guard counter, and it's going to hit for a lot of damage. This talisman is going to raise your guard counter damage by 20%, and like I said before, because this build is not super damage heavy, but more survivability heavy, having that 20% extra damage from a guard counter is really, really nice for what we need. Now, moving into our Flask of Wondrous Physic, we are going to be using the Holy Shrouding Crack tier and the Faith Knot Crystal tier. Now, the Holy Shrouding Crack tier is going to increase your holy attacks by 20%, and if you want to take this into PvP, it will increase your holy attacks by 15%. This is going to stack with our Sacred Scorpion Charm, so it's going to give us a 28% increase in our damage with holy attacks, which is really, really awesome, and it's also going to allow us to pour out more damage to all the NPCs and bosses within Elden Ring. We are also going to be using the Faith Knot Crystal tier in our flask, and that is going to give us plus 10 faith for 3 minutes. Now, this is going to be a really, really great boost to our faith, and considering all of our incantations are going to scale with faith, this is going to be extra great for us, especially when fighting bosses. So with that being said, that's our flask, and we are finally going to move into the summons. The summons are going to be the Mimic tier per usual, because everything you have equipped, the Mimic tier can also have equipped, and your Mimic tier is going to be able to put out damage and buffs for you and itself, so it's just going to last forever. Then we're also going to be using our Great Shield Soldier Ashes. I've chosen these because these are the ultimate tank in this game. I absolutely love these guys. I use them almost in every single playthrough and build that I do, and with the buffs that you can put for yourself and your allies with this Paladin build, you can buff up the Great Shield Soldier Ashes to be unstoppable. I absolutely love them. Definitely recommend you guys check these out because they are going to become one of your favorite summons in the entire game. And the last thing I want to look at, guys, is our incantations we're going to be using for this build. The first of which is going to be Golden Vow. The duration is going to be 80 seconds, and it's going to increase your damage by 15% and all damage negation by 10%. So this is a really, really good overall buff for us. And if you would like to, you can also stack this with Flame Grant Me Strength as well to get even more of a damage boost to your class. Moving to our second incantation, we're going to be using the Blessing of the Erd Tree. This is going to regenerate 12 HP per second over 90 seconds, and it's also going to heal 1080 HP in total when all is said and done. It's only going to cost 50 stamina, but I mentioned before that all of our incantations would scale with faith. This one, however, does not. This incantation is not going to scale with your faith, but it is going to be a really good heal and blessing for you for a heal over time, so I would highly recommend you go with this for the survivability. And the next incantation we're looking at is the Erd Tree Heal. This is going to immensely heal you and your allies when they are close enough to you, so this is also going to affect your Great Shield Soldier Ashes. The main reason we're going to be using this heal is because we want more Flask of Cerulean Tears and a little bit less Flask of Crimson Tears, so we can have more FP for longer, so we don't have to keep stopping at grace sites to replenish. With a stamina cost of only 50, for what you get from this heal, you are definitely going to be using this, and it is a really, really good choice because it's going to heal you for a really decent amount of your health pool, keeping you from burning through all of your Flask of Crimson Tears. Now, our first damage incantation is going to be the Triple Rings of Light. This is going to have a low cost of 28 stamina, and it's going to deal holy damage. The cool thing about this spell is it pretty much looks like 3 Destructo discs that are going to be thrown directly in front of you, and as soon as the first discs are out, you can spam this and continually throw 3 discs over and over and over again. This incantation completely melts enemies, and I really, really enjoy it, and it makes the build feel so powerful. And the last incantation we're going to be using is Wrath of Gold. This is going to send a golden shockwave rippling out all around you, and it's really good for staggering enemies with holy damage. It is only going to cost 44 stamina, so not a ton to cast, but I highly recommend you charge this all the way up and then unleash it because it's going to get get the most bang for its buck, but you can activate this incantation very briefly and you'll still get a decent amount of the shockwave that comes out and damages people while knocking them to the ground. So I'm going to break down my stats real quick, just in case you guys want to replicate this build. I will also have a breakdown for 50, 100, and 150 for you, just in case you do want to play as the Paladin on your first playthrough as well. So my Vigor currently is at 70, my Mind is at 28, Endurance is at 45, Strength is at 70, Dexterity is at 23, Intelligence at 23, Faith at 80, Arcane at 30 with a total level of 290. So I know that I'm super over leveled. This is new game plus 7. So that's why my level is so high. But like I said, I will have a breakdown of each individual meta level cap just in case you guys want to put this together on your first playthrough. So guys, that's going to be it for the Paladin build. I hope you guys enjoy playing. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. And if there's things that you would change, talismans you would add, weapons you would swap out, and so on and so forth. Would love to hear you guys' point of view. If you have not subscribed yet, make sure to hit the bell notification and that subscribe button just so you guys can know when I'm making new content. I am switching things up. I'm going to have videos coming out on Mondays and Fridays now because I am going to be moving into some Tears of the Kingdom content when that comes out. So make sure to keep an eye out for that on the channel. And until next time, guys, stay safe, enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next one.